Hey guys, welcome back to 𝗘𝗩𝗘𝗥𝗬𝗧𝗛𝗏 in Copenhagen, your guide for everything Copenhagen. I have a super exciting video for you today. I cannot wait to show you. I'm going to take you inside the world's oldest still functioning tattoo shop, which is right here on Copenhagen's famous harbour, Nyhavn. Locals will probably have an inkling, pun intended, of where I'm taking you today, but in case you don't, I'm taking you inside Tattoo Ole, which has been operating here since at least 1884. When you think of those traditional sailors' tattoos like big ships, anchors, mermaids, things like that, Tattoo Ole was a pioneer of that style. We're going to go chat with the current owner about the shop's fascinating history, as well as chat with some of the artists to see what it's like working in the world's oldest still functioning tattoo shop. A tattoo shop has been located here on Nyhavn since at least 1884. Back at that time, this little basement officially housed a tobacco shop, but had a little table in the corner for tattooing. Since 1919, this space has been used exclusively as a tattoo shop, changing owners over the years, but always remaining open and ready to tattoo anyone who walked through the doors. The shop name Tattoo Ole comes from the tattoo artist who took over the shop in the late 1940s, and the name has remained the same for the last 80 years. It gained further notoriety with Danish King 𝗘𝗩𝗘𝗥𝗬𝗧𝗛𝗏 in the early 1950s, when he proudly showed off his tattooed body for a magazine, and some of that ink was done right here in this little old shop on Nyhavn. So I'm here with Majbritt, the owner and also a tattoo artist at Tattoo Ole. So could you tell me a little bit about the history of Tattoo Ole, starting from the very beginning?
Oh, yeah, this is a long story now. The history is that this is actually the world's oldest still functioning tattoo shop, and it's been here minimum since 1884. Well, probably much older. That's just what we found. That's documentary. This we can say like with the definitely, yeah. But we do not know how old the shop is. So that is, I have an idea, maybe it's from the early 1800s, like this. Maybe
here in
also.
This shop? Or?
Yeah, because there was a guy at one point who made like research with the tattooed ladies in the late 1800s, and also, yeah, late 1800s, start 1900, and we're also like back in the 60. And he researched ladies with tattoos who were in jail, and he made like small drawings of them and checked out like who paid it and why they got it. And there are stories from also these ladies that they got it here.
Oh, okay. Tattooing has always been legal, hasn't it? Here in Denmark?
Legal?
Yeah, legal. Like it's allowed to do it?
Yes. But the same conversations we have today have been always through history. A lot of people want to close the tattoo business down because people have an opinion of how other people should look. As I, of course, as a tattoo artist, think it's a bit ignorance to have an idea what other people should do and put your beliefs on other people. I believe definitely in free speech and freedom of the right of your own body.
That brings me to a couple of years ago you had some legal battles with the restaurant upstairs and wanted to put their kitchen down here.
Yes.
But you won the right to stay for good. So does that mean the tattoo shop will stay on Nyhavn for good? You're not going anywhere?
No. The tattoo shop is connected to my lifeline. So as long as I'm alive, it's going to be here.
So much is said about, when you talk about the history of the place, about the men who started it and who ran it, but you yourself are such an interesting part of the history of the legacy of Tattoo Ole. You're the first female the owner of the shop, the first Faroese tattoo artist in the world.
Yeah, the first professional Faroese tattoo artist, yes.
So what made you get started and how did you end up here in Copenhagen?
Yeah, that is like such a weird story because I had so many plans. I think this shop is magical. I know it seems like really weird because I wanted to tattoo at some point, but a lot of times I was about to give up and then something happened. And that kept on going on. So for me, I do definitely think this is my destiny. So I will say the stars did not want me to not tattoo. Yeah, because when I started, it was really difficult to get the machines, and I was actually giving up. And then my friends knocked on my door. I had like a lot of friends, a bit fresh friends, and they got me a tattoo set somehow. they told me they found it on the train. I don't know where they got it from.
It was meant to happen. It was made for you.
Definitely. And nobody wanted to take me into an apprentice. So it was really difficult to get that. So, and then one of these guys' uncle tattooed at home, and then he started to explain me how to do it. And
was this here in Copenhagen?
in Copenhagen, yeah. And then it's just started. Then I got an apprenticeship as a tattoo artist at one of the shops who told me no in the start, but then they said yes later. Cool. That was like, yeah. And then I also educated in matters, and I got my kid, and I was pregnant, and then I wanted to stop tattooing, and then they could not give me another work schedule, so I could not pick her up for kindergarten. So I just jumped out to be independent, and randomly ended down here, and I did not know the history of this shop.
Really?
So yeah, and
So
then
it's all meant to be.
I do think so. And my old boss, he actually wanted to close the shop when I came
really?
down here. So then he changed his mind. So the rules was if I want to learn everything he could, he wanted I could stay here. I was like, perfect.
What do you think? You were saying that there was a reluctance for people to take you on for an apprenticeship. What do you was it because you were a young girl, or what do you think?
I do definitely think there was not so many girls in the business back then. The tattoo business was really different than what we know today. Today there's a lot of artists after Miami Ink. It got to be like more normal. A new era was born, and I do love that.
Or it became a bit more mainstream, I guess.
Yeah,
for,
but also
for women.
like a lot of artists came in. It was a lot of copy work. I think in the 80s and 90s, I had like a area where everybody got like this black tribal and then Miami Ink came, and then it's like, because then more different kinds of people wanted to get tattoos with different kinds of ideas. So a lot of the things is made today. My first master told me, no, this cannot be done.
Really?
But again, it's art. It's art. So I think it's very.
I guess it's always changing and evolving and. Is there a type of style that you specialize in, or?
I specialize in looking at people. I like to figure out the person. So I have, with me, they never get what they came in to ask for, because everybody comes in with the same picture. Like, I want this one. It's like, okay, yes, why do you want this one? You know, there's going to be like 20 other people with the same. So then I'm asking a bit more, who are you?
So you get their story and.
Yeah, to like get a feeling of who they are. And also I'm also a makeup girl, so I like to also put like the pictures a bit like to shape the body.
Yeah. So the artist Tattoo Ole and many of the ones that came before him were really a pioneer of that style of like sailors tattoos, like big ships, anchors and all that. Do people still get that kind of tattoo? Yeah. And do you still get many sailors coming to? We do have sailors. It's such an institution, I guess.
Yeah, and also have like generations of people. Like they come with their great grandkids and stuff like that. So I think that's really sweet.
What ones who maybe had tattoos here and like the old people?
Yeah. Then they come like in generations back. Like my grandfather got a tattoo, and sometimes we try to like they maybe have a picture of an old tattoo their grandfather or grandmother had. And then they want the same, and then we need to like figure out which one it is and try to find the books and how do you say when you make it reconstruct it?
Yeah. And then King Frilick famously got tattooed here. Did he get what? Do you know what he got? Like what tattoos he got?
He got the anchor on the arm. And he got the dragons on the breast. I heard that because it's Prince Frederick told about that. He had the dragon on the kimono.
Okay.
Yeah, that is in a paper article. So from that article, I know that one. But I never talked with the guy himself. But the story says that those two.
The sparrow too.
The sparrow?
The sparrow that I did the other day. He had the anchor and the sparrow here.
Okay.
So was it Ole that did those ones, or?
We do think so.
Yeah.
The king was a lot in Nyhavn, and he was also drinking upstairs.
So,
he was very fresh. Everybody loved him. He was a really, really fresh king. Yeah, we still miss him. He was just doing like he just lived a normal life. So I think like everybody in the royal court got a bit of gray hairs of him, but the people loved him.
Have there been any famous people that have come by here for their ink that you can tell, or is it?
No, I'd rather just like everybody's welcome here. So, and I'm so like, I don't know. I just think that it's very nice to just be private and
discreet.
Discreet, yeah. So I just have like everybody's welcome and
no matter who you are.
Yeah, yeah, and come down here and be a part of the environment and have some good time. And get some good coffee. And the coffee does taste better in a Tattoo Ole cup.
And then what's the process like to get a tattoo? For example, if I'm a tourist in Copenhagen, I'm here for the weekend, can I just walk in and get something?
Yeah.
Okay, so you don't need a whole
We have always done drop-in in 100 and all of the years. So of course people do book, but I always want to like have open schedule for some people because that is it's so sad if you're in Copenhagen and you want a tattoo and you want a souvenir, and it's the best place to get it.
Exactly.
We have the best quality, really good artists, and you can get it quite fast. And we draw, we design for you. So as a tattoo artist at this shop, you need to be quick. You cannot have like, oh no, I need a week for doing a design. So you need to be talented and you need to work fast and you need to look at the customer and see, okay, you know, also read the customer, what is good for the customer and give them guidance.
When thinking about the future, many, many years in the future when you decide to retire, do you have someone in mind who you think could carry on the legacy? Because that must be a big thing that you must think about to carry on the shop.
That's true. At this point, it's going to be my daughter.
So it can stay in the family.
Yeah. I'm not allowed to sell it, so it's the only way it can survive. Because I don't know if people really know this, but Tattoo Ole is actually the first tattoo shop in all of North of Europe. And it's the first one in Nyhavn. It's the last one in Nyhavn. And that's also why I think there's like some strange energies to the shop. I do feel like this shop is alive, like in the walls there's something. Like they really don't want us to leave. So I do think that this shop is a magical shop, if I must say. It sounds weird, but what is the odds of all of that history and also what is the odds that I ended up here, the most stubborn lady in the world? Yeah. So the concept is the same as it was in the 1800s, or maybe also longer than that. So this is like so unique.
Yeah, what other shop can say that?
I don't think you can.
No.
I don't think there's any other shop who can say this because this is so unique. And yeah, we're still here and still working and still going strong. I do think that is also very magical.
Thank you very much for your time.
Yeah, thank you too.
Come by and say hi and Tattoo Ole.
Yeah, and everybody's welcome in and say hi. And we do have mugs and a lot of other stuff you can get from the shop if you don't want tattoos. You can support us with caps or whatever. We have t-shirts. Yes.
That Denmark has it from a long time since Vikings have put ink on their skin through years and years of history, always by hand, never with machine. As a Copenhagen port city full of ships and sailors, the data of traditional old school had arrived here in the beginning of 1900s. Thanks to sailors, thanks to prostitutes that work here and they show their tattoos. There was a lot of pen pals, people were writing through tattooers in another side of the world. Denmark had something really unique of how they developed traditional old school. And since if you weren't able to get a tattoo, you have to come to Denmark. If you were in Sweden, you couldn't get it. Norway, Finland. All the people that wanted to learn how to tattoo traditional old school, traditional Americana, they have to come to Copenhagen, especially here, to have it. Yeah, there is a traditional artist in Argentina called 𝗘𝗩𝗘𝗥𝗬𝗧. He's beginning of his life, he gets drunk, ends up in Copenhagen by accident in a ship. And in order to go back to Argentina, he has to do some chores. The majority of the chores were done in this tattoo shop. So he had to go and buy some paper or get a coffee or bring people also to get a tattoo. And when he continue working at this. He had a really good relationship with the owner of this tattoo shop. By the time that he has to go back to Argentina because he gets a boat, a ship, the owner says, "Hey, would you like to learn how to tattoo? It will be a super nice thing for you to have." And say, "I don't know." No, it will be really good. So he gives him a tattoo machine with some basic flashes and stencils. At that time they were made of metal and plastic, completely different than now that it's paper. He jumps on that ship, goes back to Argentina, and he opens a tattoo shop, the first traditional Americana tattoo shop in Argentina, in the market, where he was tattooing sailors and workers from the market there. So he became the first one in Argentina, and he learned it here.
Copenhagen has such a rich maritime history that is quickly getting forgotten as the city modernizes. But Tattoo Ole is really a great reminder of what that old, tough sailor's life would have been like, and also what the old Nyhavn would have been like before it was gentrified. So it's great that they're still here almost 140 years later to preserve that part of Copenhagen's story. Thanks so much for watching. If you're ever in Nyhavn, make sure you stop by and check out Tattoo Ole, even if it's just to peek inside and maybe buy some merch to say that you've been there. And of course, a big thank you to Tattoo Ole for sharing their story for this video. If you like these kinds of Copenhagen stories, make sure you subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you next week.